Hey everybody, do you know what the 7th leading cause of death is in the United States? I bet you don't, but I do. It's diabetes. And diabetes affects almost 10% of the population now. And 84 million, check this out, 84 million people are pre-diabetic, 30 million have diabetes, and 23 million of those have been actually diagnosed, which means that a large portion of the population have been undiagnosed. They don't even know they have diabetes or that they're pre-diabetic. So this is a huge problem. And the problem with diabetes is it sets the stage for other problems like neuropathies and blindness and all kinds of health issues, hypertension. And there's a word I want to teach, it's called glycation. And you probably never heard of that word, but you should know about glycation, because glycation happens when sugar combines with protein. And when sugar combines to a protein, it makes the protein stiff. So it stiffens our body. So imagine if you've left something sweet on a plate at night, and you come in the morning and you try to clean that sugar off of the plate. It's really hard to get off of there because it's sticky. It sticks literally to the plate. So imagine what that sugar is doing in your body. It's sticking to everything. Now, here's the problem with diabetes. We know that diabetics have to take a hormone called insulin, right? So insulin is a hormone that's produced by your pancreas, and that hormone, the job of that hormone is to take glucose and shuttle it into your cells so that it can be metabolized. Okay? Now, when you have glucose, that insulin will then take that glucose and it converts it to something called triglycerides. Okay? And triglycerides basically are stored energy. Your body takes glucose, converts it via insulin to triglycerides. Now, what does triglycerides get stored as? Belly fat. Okay? So one of the problems with diabetics is they have a storage problem. They're not burning fat, they're storing fat. And where do diabetics tend to store fat? They tend to store fat in their visceral area, their belly. And that fat is really bad because it's visceral fat. It crushes your internal organs, your liver, right? Your digestive organs are being crushed by that fat, and it's literally like Crisco. And then the second problem is belly fat produces all kinds of inflammatory molecules like C-reactive protein and estrogens and all kinds of toxic things in the body. So diabetes is a huge problem. And here's the cool thing, type 2 diabetes is completely reversible and preventable. We tend to think that it's just genetic, our mother had it or our grandmother had it and we're gonna get it. Not type 2. Type 2 is a completely man-made disorder, and it's because we're eating too many refined carbohydrates. So what did God or Mother Nature provide for carbohydrates? Fruits and vegetables. Tell me where the bread tree is, or tell me where the pasta plant is. Do we pick bread off of trees? Do we pull pasta out of the ground? Right? Do we forage in the forest for granola? No, all of these carbohydrates are processed. And the problem with processed carbohydrates is we take the fiber out of the carbohydrate. Fruits and vegetables, for the most part, have a lot of fiber in it. And that fiber slows the rate at which insulin is released by the pancreas. And so when you're not releasing a lot of insulin, it's because you're not having a lot of glucose in your bloodstream. Here's a fact. You have 1 teaspoon of glucose in your body at one time. So if I were to take all the sugar in your bloodstream, that's going to amount to about 1 teaspoon. So when you see that there's 7, 8, 9, 10 teaspoons of sugar, well, that sugar has to get converted because it will do damage at a high level to the brain. So the body has to get that sugar out of the bloodstream and into the cells so that it can be converted to fat. And herein lies the problem. We're eating way too much sugar. That sugar is being converted to triglycerides. Triglycerides are being converted to fat, and that fat is making us sick. You need to get in control if you have prediabetes or if you're diabetic. And how do you know? Very simple. You go and have your A1C. It's a diabetic marker, hemoglobin A1C. We measure it in a lot of our patients. If you have a lot of belly fat, in other words, if you're a woman with a waist measurement over 35 inches or a man over 40 inches, or you have a high A1C or a high fasting insulin, if your insulin is over like 10 or 15, you're producing too much insulin. And you're gonna burn your pancreas out and become a type 2 diabetic. And when you become a type 2 diabetic, you better take it seriously, because type 2 diabetics have a significant increase in mortality due to cardiovascular disease. So many heart problems that I believe are not cardiovascular issues, they're diabetic issues that are creating glycation and hardening of the arteries. That's why we call it hardening. Those arteries become stiff and rigid, and one day they pop. And if they pop in your heart, that's called a heart attack. And if they pop in your brain, that's called a stroke. So take your blood sugar serious. That's why in our office, guys, we run 8 Weeks to Wellness to help people deal with this diabetic problem. We've seen so many of our patients, guys, over the years who started type 2 diabetics that are off all their insulin, their metformin, and they've reversed their type 2 diabetes. This is a manageable problem. If you have diabetes or you're pre-diabetic, get it under control, get professional help, get into a program like 8 Weeks to Wellness, get to one of our wellness events that we do every Monday at 7 p.m. We call Better Health through Better Results Faster, right? We teach you about what you need to be doing outside of the office with reference to diet and exercise and stress management and getting these things under control. I'm Dr. Dane. Hope to see you in our office. Please go to our website, wscenters.com. Read more about this important topic on our blog.